First reading talks about this challenge between whether people know that you're fasting or not. And the gospel is sort of talking about that as well. The Pharisees are noticing that they're fasting and they're not seeing Jesus and his disciples fasting. The first reading has this situation whereby it's recognising the fact that when we fast, it's meant to bring out the best in us. But very often, when, especially in the Old Testament and even today, when people give up something, you start to get with withdrawal syndrome. You start to feel like something's missing in your life, and sometimes that can bring out an ugly side of people. You suddenly go off food, or someone suddenly gives up cigarettes or alcohol, and they start to, it doesn't always in the first few days bring out the best in them. And when we fast, we should be doing it not just for a healthy reason, but we should be doing it so it brings out the best in us, that we're called to be saints. And the path of fasting should be a path to have a deeper desire for Jesus in our life. So if you've given up something, don't just give up something, take up something as well. I often ask people, okay, what are they taking up for Lent? Often people say, oh, I'm giving up these things and these things. Well, what are you actually taking up though? By giving up something, it needs to be replaced by an opportunity for us to be closer to Christ. And so we don't just give up something and get grumpy and say, oh, I've not had my coffee, or I've not had my sugar today, or whatever it is. But we've given up that so we can then dedicate more time to prayer, more time to service. What this first reading was saying is that the Jewish people were known, they would give up things, but then they would still be angry. They would be beating people. They would be cruel in business. This is not the way of Lent. This is not the way of Christ. We fast, and it's a good thing to fast. The church mandates only 2 days of fasting today, on Good Friday and on Ash Wednesday. And it's only for those between the ages of 18 and 60. Then we have 2 days of abstinence, again, Ash Wednesday and Good Friday. But Fridays during Lent, we're called to do some sort of act of penance. It used to be that we needed to abstain from meat on Fridays during Lent. We're not required to do that anymore, although it is a good thing and an encouraged thing to do. But we're called to make some sort of act of penance. So today, when you give up something, whatever it is, some sort of act of penance, take up something as well. Maybe spend a little bit more time in prayer, a little bit more time in service of God or service of our community. And when we give up things, don't become grumpy. I know I can be tempted to become grumpy, and I perhaps even become grumpy sometimes when I haven't had my coffee for a period of time and so on, as perhaps we all can be. But I know for myself that God wants me to be joyful. So let's be joyful in the midst of our sufferings, in the midst of our little penances that we do. Let's not allow it to bring out the worst in us. Let's allow it to bring out the best. Let's continue to desire to be saints in the midst of our sufferings during Lent.